there's a little bit of trouble in Trump land. Trouble in Trump land, people. This dropped today. This was the biggest news. An explosive meeting where Trump officials clashed with Elon Musk. Now, we remember that on Tuesday, Donald Trump, at his joint address, clapped and gave all the accolades to Elon Musk. There he was, Elon wearing a suit, and said that he is the head of DOGE. Now, remember, clearly there's disagreement inside the Trump administration, either legally, either, whomever. Someone is like, don't say Elon is the head of DOGE. He can't be the head of DOGE. He's a special government employee. He's not been nominated by and confirmed by the Senate. You can't do that. Let's not say he's the head. Trump gave away that game, and we all knew that the game was being played. Of course, Elon is the head of DOGE. I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with this meeting. Let's read. This is from Maggie Haberman. Still there, still trying to get on the inside scoop. Also Jonathan Swan, who I really like. Marco Rubio was incensed. Here he was in the cabinet room of the White House, the Secretary of State, seated behind the president and listening to a litany of attacks from the richest man in the world. Seated diagonally opposite across the elliptical mahogany table, Elon Musk was letting Mr. Rubio have it, accusing him of failing to slash his staff. You fired nobody, Mr. Musk told Mr. Rubio, and then scornfully added that perhaps the only person he had fired was a staff member from Mr. Musk's department of DOGE. Rubio has been privately furious with Mr. Musk for weeks, ever since his team effectively shuttered an entire agency that was supposedly under Mr. Rubio's control, the USAID, obviously. Remember when there was a moment at the beginning, guys, when Rubio was like, I'm head of the USAID. Okay. Or no, this other guy is. Like, there was Rubio's abroad, right? Rubio went to El Salvador because, of course, why? Is in El Salvador. The cuts and the crazy barrage of attacks on USAID begin, and Rubio's like, I'll be the head of the USAID. Clearly, he didn't like that USAID was number one on the chopping block. In the extraordinary cabinet meeting on Thursday in the front of the President Trump and around 20 others, details of which have not been reported before, Mr. Rubio got his grievances off his chest. Mr. Musk was not being truthful, Rubio said. What about the more than 1,500 State Department officials who took early retirement in buyouts? Did they not count as layoffs? He asked sarcastically whether Mr. Musk wanted him to rehire all those people just so he could make a show of firing them again. Then he laid out his detailed plans for reorganizing the State Department, this is all very funny to be like, oh, I did. What do you call the people that took buyouts? I totally fired people. Yeah, they're fighting, but nothing substantive. It's just who looks better in front of daddy. Mr. Musk was unimpressed. He told Mr. Rubio he was, quote, good on TV. Is he? I think he's pretty bad. Anyone can be better than Elon. We understand that. With the clear subtext being he was not good for much else. Throughout all of this, the president sat back in his chair, arms folded, as if he were watching a tennis match. Yeah, see, that was the other thing about the Ukraine meeting. Trump doesn't get animated for much. We've seen him. He's very tired, very slouchy, very let Elon do everything. So not only was the Ukraine meeting telling because of what he said and how he said it, but that he was so animated. You're like, oh, we found the one issue that Donald Trump actually really cares about, which is protecting his buddy Putin, defending him, getting really mad at Zelensky. How dare you get me impeached that first time? It was a perfect phone call. So it's very funny because it's true. He really is checked the out, all the way out. After the argument dragged on for an uncomfortable time, Mr. Trump finally intervened to defend Rubio as doing a great job. Mr. Rubio has had a lot to deal with, the president said. He's very busy. He's always traveling and on TV, and he has an agency to run. So everyone just needs to work together. The meeting was a potential turning point after the frenetic first weeks of Mr. Trump's second term. It yielded the first significant indication that Mr. Trump was willing to put some limits on Musk, whose efforts have become the subject of several lawsuits, of course. Thursday's meeting was abruptly scheduled on Wednesday evening, was a sign Mr. Trump was mindful of the growing complaints. He tried to offer each side something by praising both Musk and his cabinet secretaries. Okay, that doesn't do you dumbass. You can't just be like, you're both good. I both love you. I've done this before between all of my children. I love them all equally, except Tiffany, who I love less. Barron is the tallest. He gets the most love. Don't fight children. This is but you actually have to have a plan for how they're going to govern. At least one, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who has had tense encounters related to Mr. Musk's team, was not present. The president made it clear he still supported the mission of the Musk initiative, but now was the time, he said, to be a bit more refined in its approach. From now on, he said secretaries would be in charge and the Musk team would only advise. It is unclear what the long-term impact of the meeting will be. Mr. Musk remains Mr. Trump's biggest political financial supporter. Just this week, his super PAC aired $1 million worth of ads that said, "Thank you, President Trump." And Mr. Musk's control of the social media website X has made the administration staff members and cabinet secretaries alike fearful that he will target them in public. That's nothing to worry about. But if nothing else, the session laid bare the tensions within Mr. Trump's team, and the news of the sharp clashes spread quickly throughout senior ranks of cabinet agencies after it was over. This account is based on interviews with 5 people of knowledge of the events. Mr. Trump on social media said instead of using a hatchet, he's going to use a scalpel, a clear reference to Mr. Musk's scorched earth approach. Musk apparently wore a suit in the meeting. Just moments before the blow up with Rubio, Musk and the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy went back and forth about the state of the FAA and its equipment for tracking airplanes and what kind of fix was needed. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, jumped in to support Mr. Musk. Shut the fuck up, Howard Lutnick. Mr. Duffy said, the young staff of Mr. Musk's team was trying to lay off air traffic controllers. "What am I supposed to do?" Mr. Duffy said. "I have multiple plane crashes to deal with now, and your people want me to fire air traffic controllers." Okay, Mr. Duffy, but you're so irrelevant. Nobody even knows what the real world is, okay? Do you even know who Baby Gronk is? I'm sorry, I don't. I'm just trying to think of a young reference. I don't know. I was looking at that video the other day. I love that this is Sean Duffy. Please tell your tweens to stop firing the FAA air traffic controllers. What am I supposed to do? And we've got more on that, because this is before this happened, by the way. Mr. Musk told Mr. Duffy that his assertion was a lie. Mr. Duffy insisted it was not, and he had heard it from them directly. Mr. Musk, asking who had been fired, said, "Give me their names. Tell me their names." Oh my God, no. Mr. Duffy said there were not any names because he'd stopped them from being fired. At another point, Mr. Musk insisted people hired under DEI were working in control towers. Mr. Duffy pushed back, and Mr. Musk did not add details, but said during the long back and forth that Mr. Duffy had his phone number and should call him if he had any issues to raise. Who is the president right now? Seriously, though, you're in a meeting to clarify that the secretaries are actually in charge of the departments to which they were confirmed somehow. And Elon saying, "Call me, all sorted out"? No. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care that your hair plugs and your scalp operation worked on you. You can't do that. This is bad, y'all. This is going to be very bad. The exchange ended with Mr. Trump telling Duffy that he had to hire people from MIT as air traffic. I thought we didn't believe in higher education. Isn't that all bullshit? You want to hire woke people now? MIT? This is so, I want all the Rhodes Scholars to be air traffic controllers. He said geniuses. I understand that for a guy who's never worked a goddamn day in his life, has never trained for absolutely anything in his life. Do you think people with high IQs, which again, let's pretend it's not a debunked, way of measuring intellect, but do you think people with high IQs are like, I just know how planes fly. I just direct them in my mind. We need to get only Russell Crowe's from Beautiful Mind. What do you think these people are? Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting? Him. We just need a lot of the Matt Damons. He went to MIT, right? Or he was, that was about MIT. This is so pathetic. Doug Collins, again, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, has been dealing with one of the most politically sensitive challenges of all the cabinet secretaries. Mr. Musk's cuts will affect thousands of veterans. Mr. Collins made the point they should not wield a blunt instrument and cleave off everyone from the VA. They need to be strategic about it. Mr. Trump agreed with Mr. Collins, saying they ought to retain the smart ones and get rid of the bad ones. I swear. In response to a request for comment from the New York Times, Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, said in a statement, as Mr. President said, this was a great and productive meeting amongst the members of his team to discuss cost-cutting measures and staffing across the federal government. Everyone is working as one to help President Trump deliver on his promise to make our government more efficient. Okay, so there's trouble in paradise. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom. Do it.